Welcome to Breakfast Central here on News Central on a Thursday morning. It feels really good because we've decided to indeed have a coalition of some sort to ensure that we are back on the air and not just coming back, but of course talking about the biggest stories that's indeed making the rounds in town. Well, I'm Joe Hansen and I'm saying good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central.
Well, this is not the ADC, this is the BFC, Breakfast Central. Thank you for starting your morning with us. Remember that you can engage on our social media platforms at News Central TV. And at some point, we'll open the phone lines when we're reviewing the papers, and you can call in and drop your thoughts. I am Olive Emodi.
This is not ADC, this is BSC.
BFC.
Now, Olive, you're highly intelligent.
Thank you.
And your body is cold. Perhaps, do you use high sense products as your AC? Because your sense is very high. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central. Yes, like Joe said, we have a lot for you today.
Yes,
I mean, quite a lot happened yesterday, and we'll be dissecting, we'll be chopping up details, analysis, we'll be permutating like we're going into a football game as we inch towards 2027. So many things happening on the Nigerian political scene, earthquaking moves, and a few surprises too. So we'll look into it and also take the reactions from the ruling All Progressive Congress to see if they're perturbed.
Yeah. Coalition. That has been the conversation for over a year. The suspicions of a likely and a possible coalition, those who are for, those who are against, but it would seem that all the speculations will now be put to rest as there is an official coalition. Very surprising, however, that it's the ADC again. A while ago, we had all thought it was going to be SDC, but now SDC has been shoved aside, and ADC, in Joe's words, is the golden, how do you call it? Golden bride.
Yeah,
the chosen pile.
Yes. So you had the SDP.
SDP, yes. The SDP was the initial suspicion. NNPP yes. First. There was a suspicion that there was going to be NNPP in some measure. Then after a while, it looked like the NNPP wasn't really NNPP.
But I wonder, you know, the NNPP has not declared allegiance yet, so I wonder whether they are not moving to the APC. But it's close, it's looking more likely given APC. No, yes, from our own analysis.
Well, it's good. Maybe we can also take it to the drawing board and break it down, because it's going to be a two-horse race. But on the other side, on the flip side, it's not just going to be a two-horse race. It's going to be a horse, one of the horses that has the biggest supporters, all groomed in one. But there's also a question, and the question simply is, those who are moving to the ADC, are they going to resign? We've seen the former Senate President resign. I'm talking about David Mark, and he has taken the position of course, the national chairman, the acting national chairman of the ADC. Are others going to resign? There are rumors that it's going to be a clear-cut case of copy and paste with what we've seen from the FCT minister, the current FCT minister, which is FCT minister
serving in an APC government.
Serving in the PDP, but of course is ensuring that the APC is successful. Like he has said, he said, I'm going to give my vote. And he's going to give his vote. So
I guess it depends on the appointments. I guess if you're going to hold a sensitive position like acting national chairman, if you're going to be a principal officer of the ADC, I think the best thing you could do is to resign. But if you're just an ordinary member, you're a supporter of the coalition, I don't think it's necessary.
Or maybe the fact that they are interim, for example, even the assistant national chairmanship of Rauf Aregbesola, some people kicked against it. So they are all acting, they're not permanent. But the other thing that we've seen is how many people have reacted to this and saying it feels like putting old wine in new wine skin, because these are the same people who have had different chances at
in the very recent past.
Election really threw that at most of them, because in an open letter, Deji Adeyanju had asked him to ignore what people would say and he should please join the ADC. And he had said he did not commit crime with all these people and began to name all of them.
You know, I like that story.
When this person did this, I was not there. When this person did that, he called names and called specific.
So the twins.
It was like he was blasting everybody, basically trying to say all of them have dirty hands and he was not a part of it. And he's with the people and not, these politicians.
Reminds me of when Dr. Obi Ezekwesili threw a hat in the presidential race. It was Buhari and Atiku then are the major contenders. And she said, look, this is, the tickets should be called Butiku. because they are both Siamese twins of hunger, of bad governance and all of that. So there's, you put strange bedfellows together just because of getting political power. Would it have repercussions? Do we want to do a Tinubu or just Tinubu out and anyone? Are we careful? Would we give them more scrutiny, like what happened, anyone but Jonathan?
I was about to mention that we made this mistake before, because that was the same thing the second tenure, when President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was running, and they said anybody but Jonathan. They also did the same thing at a point to, that was what brought Buhari in, because if maybe and many people have held this school of thought, that if the candidate was a northern president, maybe Buhari wouldn't have gotten it. If it was anybody else, but it was a situation of anybody but Jonathan. And then Buhari came into power, and look at what has happened.
But Joe, do we have any other options apart from, okay, now we've seen that these are former players. Everyone has their credentials. They've been part and parcel of governance that has led us to where we are today. So can we do a Showore and, just ignore everybody there? We know these guys have the financial muscle, but there are lots of Nigerians that are not part of that political elite class that can deliver. Are we going to see a third force perhaps emerge?
I don't see any. I don't know.
Or is this it?
I don't see any
the
third
way
force
it looks currently, there wouldn't be any. In short, Benga, what we're seeing now...
Is Showore not a third force?
Not at all. I mean, Showore is an outspoken person. He has a lot of support behind him, but in terms of being that third force that would upset...
Like what Peter Obi did.
So what Peter Obi did. So does he have the clout? Does he have the muscle? He may have it to a certain degree in terms of his movement and so on. But when it comes to translating it to polls, that's where, I mean, we saw when he decided to also join the race, and we also saw
the results.
What happened in terms of the results. People had mocked and said, oh, maybe it was just your family members who came in and then supported you. But let's be factual with this. There are so many layers we can discuss with this coalition, so many, and I think that's exactly what we're going to do today. We'll look at it from different angles. One of the angles I'm interested in is the fact that the names that are bandied, the names that are put in terms of those who were gathered there yesterday, continues to show a repetition of the same people who have ruled the country one way or the other in the past 4 decades.
And who have been part of the ruling party also.
Exactly. And these same caliber of persons are the same people who had joined forces to kick out the PDP when they formed the APC. If you recall, go back as far as 2013, 2014. These same people, you have them who have come together. They're still part of it. Now, there are also rumors that the people who are here are the aggrieved members of the All Progressives Congress.
AKA Bad Belle.
Bad Belle, AKA those who ensured that President Tinubu will not get into power. They're the ones who have said, okay, we no go agree. So they've come out and said, let's form our own party. However, if we look at what we see here on the screen, this is a behemoth. Let me use that word of some sort. I'm not happy that, and I'll be honest, I'm not trying to say this in a sarcastic manner, but I think they should have allowed the president to enjoy his trip in St. Lucia. But I think they just decided to say...
You think that this Martin will shake a whole president?
Well, whether you like it or not,
I mean, look, going from your perspective, if I was a political strategist for the APC, I think what you just said now, that look, it looks more like it's a personal vendetta than saving Nigeria, and that's the angle the APC strategists will use, because if ordinary Nigerians just open their eyes and go down memory lane, they will see exactly what you're saying. And it's the plain truth.
I can't wait for the...
They were all part and parcel.
I can't wait for the party...
Government.
I can't wait for the party constitution to also come out, because, and let me also mention, guys, they say, for many people, for the fact that Mr. Peter Obi, who has been touted as one of the most,
popular?
The saint, let's put it that way, in the Nigerian political space, for him to agree to join the coalition, then Nigerians are demanding, let's get to see what the party stands for.
So let me just correct that. You called him a saint. I think him and his followers will say he's not a saint, but he's not a thief.
No, when we use the word saint in the political
Hello, I think they are very careful about referring to him as saint.
I'm not the one who calls him a saint. A lot of people call him a saint in the political text. The reason why is because they say you cannot really pinpoint or hold him. Okay, if we mention some names here, you could point to some scandal. Some scandals.
And of course, the Nollywood actor, famous Nollywood actor, Saint Obi. Yeah, that's why the name Saint.
Wow, you are very dry.
Bigger.
Wow.
Anyway, so looking at this, there's so many layers, like I said, to discuss on this. You have the aggrieved party members who have come together. One thing that nobody is talking about is what would be the tenets that would indeed guide this coalition.
It's small now. They've announced coalition
exactly.
first. Eventually,
you walk before you run.
And for people to see Mr. Peter Obi agreeing to shake hands with them, some people are saying, okay, I can be rest assured.
I mean, his presence alone means that they have crossed that bridge.
Exactly. That a lot of people are saying, I can be rest assured. I mean, take a look at another. You had LP members all over the place.
Yeah, I just spotted the senator representative.
Even the former LP member, Kenneth Okonkwo, who left the party at some point because of his disagreement with the leadership style of Peter Obi. I watched an interview yesterday where he was being asked if Peter Obi emerges as a presidential candidate of this new coalition, if he will support. He said, it's not about the person, it's about the common goal. Now it's about the party, everybody coming together, and whoever it is that is nominated as the presidential candidate, that he will throw his support behind that person. Another thing to point out with the ADC is the fact that I have also seen some people, especially those in the ruling party, criticizing Peter Obi and the obedience, because they say the same people that you criticize during the elections, you are now dining with them.
It's for political expediency. It's not. I mean, politics is not. They're not saints.
So that's the thing. They say
that's
the
where
person,
the problem comes in.
Yeah, that the person you've painted as a person who doesn't frolic with the ones who have tainted hands is now having to break bread with them because of political reasons.
Interesting.
I mean, that's one of the arguments that
never said it was a monk or
against
a saint. This is the game of politics. But there's another angle I want us to look at. Is it, can we say it's home run now, or is still early days? Because I wanted to know why they chose the ADC as their special purpose vehicle to drive them to the promised land. And I also want to know what happens with the existing crisis in their various political parties. Some of them are PDP, some of them are APC, some of them are PDP, LP. Yes, individuals like Mr. Aburi and Lamidi Apapa. Have you cut them off? And is there any way, hope there won't be any way for them to foment trouble in the new arrangement? Can they still throw spanners in the works of the ADC from their vantage point? Or you've cut off the umbilical cord?
Binga. If you look at this, I mean, sometimes if you love adventures, you watch adventure movies, and it has to do with the kings plotting against each other, you would see you see a very strong plot here. There are many of them, but let's just pick one with what you've asked. You recall, I did say earlier that the FCT minister is one person who is a PDP card-carrying member, but is also fully supportive of the APC. So we're going to see a case whereby I don't think everybody who's supporting the coalition are going to leave their party. They will use that same work, that same textbook, remain in their parties, irrespective of whether it's the PDP, it's the APC, it's the Labour Party.
And will the party tolerate it?
Sorry?
But will their parties tolerate it? Because the party members are already...
Why not?
So that's what I said. That's why I said
you've not resigned.
If you love adventure, you see what will happen. Somebody has set a precedent. And guess what? The person did set the precedence from the local government level. It's at the federal government level, where the AGF is also there, and he's the FCT minister and so on. So they're also going to use that in the same political party space and say, come on. And they would own up and say, I'm supporting the ADC, for example. You can't take them out because
they have a right
I have not resigned.
Yeah.
All right. I want to go back to
so
this
a lot of dynamics.
Shori that we mentioned. Yes,
Okay.
I agree that Shori has a lot of influence. He does have a lot of influence. I mean, anytime we have Shori, you would see the responses. He has a huge following. We can't, downplay that. But with this ADC, it feels like there's a lot more forces at play, a lot of people who have huge followings. In response, the Nigerian Tribune responded, published the response of Showore to Deji Adeyanju. And I wanted to, the data I was talking about, I went to look for it so that I can read it out to you. He says, I did not join Atiku Abubakar in looting the Nigerian customs dry. I did not join David Mark when he stole funds meant to fix our telephones and later helped to crush our democratic hopes on June 12th. I did not join Abubakar Malemi's SAN in violating human rights and looting the treasury under Muhammadu Buhari's watch. I did not join Nasir El-Rufai. This one is a lot stronger. I don't know if I can read this one. I did not join Peter Obi at the tin can port while he declared goods for Abacha when the same Abacha that was dismantling Nigeria brick by brick. I did not join Sanusi, Sule Lamido and the SDP traitors who sold out MKO Abiola and the will of the Nigerian people. I did not join Chibike Rotimi Amechi while he gambled away River State funds and abandoned the mini rail project already paid for. I have never joined an armed robbery gang. I have never pledged allegiance to any cult, no matter how powerful, popular or fanciful. I have only one allegiance: to the oppressed, the disenfranchised, the cheated, the silenced. I will only join those ready and willing to end this national nightmare created by these characters listed above. Let it be known, I stand with a vanguard of justice, a coalition of truth, a revolutionary team to restore the dignity of Nigerians. Nigeria must be free from these evildoers. That is the report from the Nigerian Tribune of what Showore has said.
Yeah, I mean, it's on his X. You can find that on his X page as well. Binga, you want to say something?
Very strongly worded, and a lot of Nigerians will see reason to it. But they will also say, look, we're looking for a political expediency here. We're being pragmatic. This is how they play the game. So we'll play the game. I'll keep my cards close to myself. And they would argue that, when we get there, we'll begin to reform and purge the system. But it's never that easy. That's why maybe a third force might emerge. Maybe not through Showore, but that thinking. So look, these are the same old, new bottle, old wine, and let's do away with this guys that have been part of a system. Let's go for something fresh. Yes.
I mean, I'm going to play it from a different angle, and I'm going to say this. Should a third force emerge, who will be in that third force?
I mean, there are Nigerians in the private sector. There are Nigerians that have done extremely well. Look, if they bring an Okonjo-Iweala to be the flag
you think she stands a chance against
a third?
I'm actually glad that you mentioned
why won't people?
Because, and you raised an angle that came to mind when you also mentioned Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, bring her heart in the
You will see Dr. Obi Ezekwesili in this coalition.
I mean, unfortunately.
Let me say it now. You
and it breaks my heart to say that.
We'll have a
I don't know if we're yet at the point where Nigeria is ready to embrace the leadership of women. And if you look at it, if you check, for example, in the cases of governors, people running for governors, people running for, very at the top level of governance.
So very few women.
I mean, America has its own fair share. See what happened when Hillary Clinton was running. But at least you see them getting to the position
very
of being
close.
Like key figures. We are still very far from there. I hope that in the nearest future we can be able to surmount that, because I believe that there are women who are equipped to be able to do the job.
Absolutely.
Because when you bring this up
we
now,
should also give it a try. Since 1960, look at where the men.
I understand. See, both of you have been watching you.
Look at where the men
are you talking about
driven us to?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay,
no, what I said is,
maybe not
I
the presidency.
unfortunately don't feel like Nigerians are ready. I think it's important that women are, women take role of leadership and responsibility, even at the topmost level of leadership.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate that I don't think Nigeria is ready for that. Nigeria will push back on it, because I've seen, if you look at some of the people who have led in certain key roles and the way that they have acted, and when one woman maybe does something, steps out, any small thing they will mention, ministry.
I mean, look, Kemi Adeosun was doing a fantastic job as Minister of Finance, and because of some NYSC discrepancy, which other people, like the then Minister of Communication, Mr. Shitu, he said during his, I don't know what, he didn't do his national service, but he said,
you had the River State.
Yes, and things like that. But if it's a woman, they will have a way to force you out.
Very quick to just, and then they'll make it an example. See, this time we gave a woman. I'm hoping that more women will rise and be involved in political conversations, join political parties, be concerned. You can't cause a change from standing on the sidewalk. You can't actually influence positive change from just being on the side and, you know, not really wanting
And
to
commenting on
interested.
blogs.
Yes, that's not the kind of change we can make. But let's still talk about the ADC and what happened. They were scheduled to have their coalition event at the Wells Carlton Hotel in Asokoro, Abuja. Dele Momodu posted a screenshot of the message that the hotel sent to them 24 hours before the event happened. And it was a message saying that due to certain internal compliance issues, they will not be able to have their events there. Of course, the tongues have started to wag with people believing that forces that be have tried to influence or ensure that, you know, they prevent the ADC from having
Maybe
its
they
strategic
thought
meeting.
there will be scuffle or they will scatter the place.
So you did not do your due diligence.
But let's ask the
And it's
convener
24
of
hours.
Hotels Expo.
Please go ahead.
Mr.
Talk to
Convener,
us.
please. As a hotelier.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
As a hospitality
Thank you so
expert.
much for the
Thank you very
privilege
much.
to
The
talk on
correction.
this issue. So, the case is not far-fetched. When it comes to a political situation like this, and you own a business, bear in mind that I do not know who the owner of the hotel simply is. We don't know who they are. But one thing we know for sure is that you might want to take a lot of things into cognizance. One, you are in the FCT, and we know how politicking simply is. It may have an adverse effect on your business.
You might just go and look at your file.
Exactly, or it may have a negative impact.
This man has
So
not
as a
paid land
business
use
owner,
charges.
if I were the one, you would think twice, okay, how do I do it? Secondly, I'm not linking this to the reason, but I'm just stating it for obvious reasons. It may be that also some of the people who invest.
Look at the
in
hotel, very nice
Yeah, very
hotel.
nice, very beautiful. Some of the people who invest in these businesses, if you check the back, they also are politicians. So it could also be, we don't know. We're just saying.
True.
We're just saying. We're just a legend.
I mean, these are very
The
valid
witch died,
arguments.
the mother, the baby cried. The witch died in the night, the baby cried. It's 2 and 2 that
It
people
could
are
also be
looking
that
at.
some of the investors have a link or a tie with
the APC.
the current ruling party. So they've simply said, it's just a phone call. Hey, who are you? Why would you do that? I don't want to see that. If that happens, just have in mind that we're going to, and the first thing you do is you have to save yourself. So for these reasons, one, for business, you have to look at it carefully. Two, there are companies who don't want to have any
Political
affiliation with. If I were the one, I wouldn't want to have. I mean, carefully, in case you do not know, there's some hotels that don't accept any religious, you know, events.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, they don't. They don't, because they have this policy that if a religious event comes there, it means that somebody who worships, you know, a certain god and so on can also come there and say, well, after all. So they just say, you know, anything religious
understand.
gathering,
We won't take.
We don't want it. If you have social, that's fine, but religious, no, we don't want.
Does that not fall in the category of religious discrimination?
Not really. For
I mean,
some,
since
see,
you're not
it's-
accepting any.
if you're not accepting
It's not
any, it's just fine. You just leave it, and it's not
Circular.
it's just a personal thing for some organizations.
Very well
So
said.
the truth is
I
that
mean,
we
let's thank Mr. Convener here
Thank you,
for his
Mr.
brilliant
Convener.
response.
For Mr. Convener, I think we're at one point, and we agree with you that hotels can decide the principles and policies that guide their businesses. However, there's also the role that integrity plays in all of this. If you've given,
And timing
hold
too,
on,
timing.
exactly, and that's where the integrity comes in. If you've given a client your word that you're going to do this thing, if you have to back out last minute, how willing are you to bend backward? Right? I think a better thing to have done would have been for them, and I hope that it serves as a learning curve, not just for the Wells Carlton, but for other hotels and businesses, that when clients come to you, understand what your policies are, have somebody who does your internal checks, that will go and do the research, so you know if you're going to accept it or not, so that you accept it within reasonable time, because these are the same hotels that they'll tell you you cannot cancel booking 24 hours. If I'm going on holiday and I book a hotel, I know that if something happens, that they hold me at the airport or my visa did not come out, and maybe for some reason I decided to make one last minute thing 24 hours before my money, OT lock, they won't cancel it.
Yeah.
So if they have those principles and those policies when it comes to individuals and comes to running their businesses, I think it's only fair that
Very
you
well
take that into consideration. If you knew you were going to cancel, you should have done that way earlier.
And not
because
accept
now it now
in the
looks,
first place.
yes, don't accept. Or if you accept, give them considerable time to find a new place and get someone else. There have been situations where I've been called to MC an event, and for some reason something came up and I couldn't. I will bend over backwards to get them a suitable representative that I know will do it, you know, just to ensure that my clients are not stranded. And I think that's what the hotel should have done.
Well,
24 hours was too short.
In this,
agree.
I agree with you 100%. But like I've said, either of those two reasons. One, let's not have any political affiliation because we are in the Federal Capital Territory in code, so we do not fall under the watch eye of, you know, certain persons who have power. Secondly, it could be that part of some of our investors are currently, you know, with the ruling party and they don't want any affiliation with another party. And don't forget too, guys, the same Shehu Musa Yaradua, same Yaradua Center has played role to a similar incident in the spate of 7 days. Remember the PDP NEC meeting?
They had to move there.
Cancelled. They moved to where?
Yaradua Center.
Yesterday, same thing cancelled. They moved to the same center. So it seems like maybe they should just make that place, the center, a place
instead of wasting their time with hotels.
You know, the good thing is that this happened in Abuja. Imagine that it happened in, well, Lagos, typically a number of the major events happen either in Lekki, VI, or Ikeja. In Abuja, wherever they are moving you to another place, it's like 10 minutes drive,
exactly.
and you're good to go. It was in Lagos.
Because that crowd, that number of people, I wonder how they were able to circulate the information quickly.
Or the people at the venue to say, are you here for this event? Sorry, we moved. You know, it would have caused a logistical nightmare, but eventually it happened because when politicians said they had to do something, they will do it. And I hope that that same resilience and doggedness is how they bring, you know, is what they bring to leading Nigeria to ensure that when one way looks like it's not working, they find another way to make life better for the people of Nigeria. But let's move away from the ADC, as that will form the core of our conversation today, to talk about Nigeria's education system. A young man made a video where he complained bitterly of something. He talked about having passed through a certain institution and basically just decrying the state of Nigeria's education system, asking for some measure of an overhaul. Let's take a look at the video, then when we'll come back, we'll discuss it.
We have a lot of universities and polytechnic, yet we are not producing anything. See, faculty of engineering here, they are not producing anything. I was in this faculty some time ago when the faculty generator had issues. None of the professors of mechanical engineering, petroleum, none of them could fix it. They had to look like my question, why is the faculty of engineering if just the power plants, the diesel power plants had faults and could not be fixed? So you can say it's very ineffective. Unibe has about 77,000 students, of which a good number of them the faculty of agric. You understand? But yet, food is expensive in Benin, even in science school especially. Why? Because they are not manufacturing food. If I'm president of this country, first thing first, I'm very much concerned about practicality, functionality of institutions of learning. All schools will close by 12. I'm talking about primary and secondary school now. You close by 12, just go and learn work. You go to school from 7 to 12, you close by 12 and go and do something with your hands. Theory, good grades does not build a country. It's productivity that builds a country. You understand? It's when you start producing, you can start doing research to back up and make better what you're already producing. If you're not manufacturing anything, there's no need for research centers. I don't even, all the research centers in Nigeria, what are they doing? We are not solving our own problems. What are you researching on? My own opinion. As somebody who is still learned, but more of a realist. What is your opinion about the educational sector of this country? How effective is it in your state? Drop it below in the comment section.
I support that 100%. I support it.
I mean, it's a mixture for me.
Yes, for me, it's a mixture, actually.
I suppose,
because number one, I mean, you don't, there's a reason why people go to universities, and there's a reason why they study education. There's sociology education, there's education as a course, so that you can be a professional lecturer and teacher. Those lecturers there are not meant to be fixing.
Thank you very much.
Generator,
that's what I wanted to highlight.
It doesn't mean that they don't know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So Newton's
academia.
I mean, Newton, E equals MC squared, all these theories, theory of relativity, they started from theory before you can practicalize. It's like the egg before the chicken. So you can't, you can't form nothing, you can't form something out of nothing. It has to be laid down rules. That's why you have formulas and procedures before you could go ahead and fix this. And there are different departments. There are people that are in charge of fixing these things when they go wrong. And those people fixing it are also, there's a theory behind that is written somewhere. That's why we have textbooks. So I don't understand. I understand the use of vocational work and handwork and the importance of it and why there should be a healthy mix. But you can't just totally dismiss theory and the lecturers and say they don't know anything because they can't fix
Excuse me, sir.
Let's hear.
He didn't dismiss it. He said, and I would quote, he would allow them go to school from morning, he close, and then go.
That's for the students.
I agree.
He said he couldn't fix the generator.
Why would an engineering department not be able to fix?
Okay,
My
you're a
response to that-
broadcaster. Can you fix the satellite?
No, hold on. No, hold on. No, I'm coming. I'm going to use our industry. In the media, it's divided into sections. We are broadcasters. We are anchors. We are producers. If you tell me, can you produce? And I tell you no, then you know I have a problem.
No, but I don't think it's the broadcasters you should use as example.
No, I'm just using one. He just highlighted
no.
one. So I just
if you
followed
are
through.
using, if you are using
compare
our
apples and
industry,
oranges.
exactly, use the professors teaching mass communication. How many of them can do what we're doing here?
The professors teaching mass communication have an idea and a knowledge of what is done. They understand what is called show prep.
But if you put them in front of camera,
yes, exactly.
Hold on. You will put them in front of the camera. Please take note what I'm trying to say. You put them in front of, if you bring a professor here to present, granted, he may not be slick and smooth like expecting to be, but he can present. Fact. Fact.
So those professors to understand the theory behind if a spark plug needs to be changed, the professors know that the problem is from the spark plug. So,
yes, you should know.
So I disagree with that. I disagree with
Why
that.
am I teaching mechanical engineering?
But I need you to join engineers
I disagree with
and
that.
fix.
Because I feel like
if I majored in engineering, I should be able to know. For instance, if this is we do have our masts. I expect that the guys in technical or engineering understand everything that has to do with.
I would like to see you climb that mast.
I don't agree with that argument, because I feel that even in the education, in academia, these professors, they are in the academic space. They are academic, they are the academic professionals, right? It's why when you go through the university, there's a year for internship, because you've learned the theory. You then go do your internship with the people who will teach you the practical of it. So I don't think I agree with his sentiment, but not his analogy of, because the generators fault, one of the professors could fix it. I don't think it's professor's responsibility to fix the generators.
Not just professors.
Right? He said,
okay, the professors of political science. I mean, it applies to political science.
It's just like saying, I don't even know if the lecturers in medical school can perform surgery, a number of them. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say. So I don't know that a lecturer who's teaching a course in 300 level, somebody will have an emergency and immediately
their focus is on transfer of knowledge, academia.
So they transfer the knowledge.
Respect
then
them
you
for
go to your internship, and in your internship, you get practical, your housemanship, practical hands-on knowledge on the thing that you learned in the classroom, the theoretical.
Olive, you've said it all. July-born people are so smart.
I think you guys have still not gotten it. And
it's fine. Tomorrow
we can agree to disagree.
No, let me explain it. One, the young man did not throw away the baby with the bathwater by saying that there shouldn't be lecturers or those who teach. He's not saying that.
No, we agree with that.
You know, let's be honest.
But he's dissing them because they can't fix generators.
That's what we are dealing with.
It's enough to diss them. I would diss them. I know why I would diss them. Let's come down to it. He has made a point here, and I think we should look at it. It's the same point that the followers...
How is he even sure that they can't fix generators?
I'm coming. Developing nations. Let's take China, for example. Let's go and study China. Take your time, read about China.
I think they are not developed.
Far back as at when I was in JSS 3, I recall, quite frankly, my late in-law told me I would send you to China once you're done with your junior YEC. And I said, okay, I'm good. And he showed me back then pictures, because of course, videos and camera phones were in that, clear. And then he said, look at pictures. China has a system whereby if the students go to school, they learn this theory, they learn everything, they have time to go and do the practical. I push this to you.
I think we are all saying the same thing.
It's the same thing he's saying.
We are all saying the same thing. The only thing we and I are saying is the analogy of generators spoiling. Professors could not fix it. We think it's a flawed analogy. Other than that, we think it's great for them to learn theory and practical. I'm 100% in support of that. It's just the analogy of sort of throwing a diss at the professor.
What do you think about Introtech? We all did Introtech in school.
So that is where we all need to have time and discuss this. our educational system, the way it's structured, is it benefiting you and I? Is it
Tech
benefiting the
was
next
meant to
generation?
be,
The answer is
you
no.
know,
Let's stop
coding,
trying to
introduction to
It was
technology,
technology, and
but we're using
Since
woodwork.
Binga.
When
Binga.
they wanted to turn us to carpenter.
School I went to, they said it's compulsory, you must pass computer science. Primary school was compulsory. So parents had to pay extra. Guess what? A school of then, I think we're about 110, or if I'm right, maybe 80 or something, one computer, one. One. And when I come,
At least it's better than those that are using stone for mouse.
Say, this is a mouse. What is this? A mouse.
mouse.
Go back to your class. You've learned.
But that's a generation. Things have changed now. You know, we are not in the same generation. But
We were just...
I'm just saying. And the same still applies today. How many schools have computers?
Okay, one house. Let's come back now and share what our top story is. But you can tell us your thoughts, especially regarding the argument about the young man's
I'm going to be
position
sure on this topic.
regarding education.
I'm sure on this
Go
topic.
on
Let's do
YouTube,
practical.
News Central TV Live, and drop your comments in the chat box,
Practical.
and we will take it before the show ends.
Mr. Speaker, I think let us evict Johansson from this.
The top stories are.
I'm gone. Practical.
Morning, opposition coalition adopts ADC that will form the core of our conversation today. Abuja Hotel backs out, blocks ADC coalition event. We joined this morning by Dele Momodu, who will explore and explain what exactly is going on. Reps reject Senate hospital bill. Sagir Ibrahim brings us more in a report. A Constitutional Review Committee to commence hearing the House Committee is set to hold a zonal public hearing on the Constitution. We reviewed the newspaper front pages this morning as well and opened the phone lines for you to call in and share your thoughts.